another Love in Action TV and podcast episode. Of course, we're in Deconstruction Junction. I'm Dr. Flo, online coach and mentor, helping you follow your bliss every day through encouragement, equipment, and empowerment. And one thing that I share with the world as much as possible is how loved and lovable you crazy kids are out there, no matter what your political affiliation, no matter what your religious beliefs are, no matter the color of your skin, your sexual orientation, or any other thing that makes you feel like you're special. We accept you exactly as you are, and hope that you know that you're loved and lovable above all. And who is us? As Poppy Water would say to me, you got a rock in your pocket? When you say we, who are you talking about? Of course, on screen today, we're talking about the Tara Praolo Studio. Introduce yourself to the folks, and then we'll be off to the races.
Hello, puppets. I'm Tara Priolo. I really kind of, okay, if I ever am reincarnated, which I do believe in reincarnation, y'all. I also believe that reincarnation doesn't happen on the same timeline. Like sometimes we're reincarnated to like a past, like iteration. Anyway, I would like to be reincarnated as a pirate. So if somebody could put the word in with the good Lord that y'all believe in, that would be great. Anyway, I'm Tara Priolo, and I'm your
If
resident
anybody
Black
could
Pirate.
turn you into a pirate, if anybody could turn you, Jesus, I can't even get it out. See, you can't even get it out. If anybody could turn you into a pirate, it would be the good Lord.
The good Lord. The good Lord.
Only
Yeah,
the good Lord that could do it.
only the good Lord. Herbert. The good Lord Herbert. Um, I'm your resident Black biracial multi-passionate musician. I talk about the ish that nobody wants to talk about and push you to do the same. Um, I also am like thinking about how I can be like founder, co-founder, because I think those titles sound cool. Anyway, that's enough about me. We're going to talk about some ish. Not a lot of ish.
What are you the founder? What are you the founder of?
Well, blackening the canon, but it's a group chat. So it's not like a bench worthy event yet. But
It's
it
a
will be.
movement that is incubating in a series of group chats.
Yes. And some would say the Tara Priolo Foundation, and other people would say Joy is the Revolution. Um, yeah, anyway, there's
It
that.
all starts with a thought. Every child y'all got, every
Every child.
manifestation. Yeah,
Mhm.
like the child was
Yeah.
like, I think I want to stick some things in places or pay a lot of money to have it
And,
done in a
and
in
a
a lab.
healing practitioner at healing practitioner slash mindset coach at Love and Action Network. I'm also the founder and operator of Terra Priolo Studio. I have a lot of things. Maybe I should add that to like a profile somewhere.
Yeah, you contain multitudes, as Walt Whitman would say, and yeah, there's no reason with putting your dick on the table. Everybody else is.
You'll see
Just
it. Did you see it?
just slam it on the table, and just say,
Wait,
"This is what."
mine is rainbow.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Coat of many colors, dick.
Covered of
Speaking
many colors.
speaking of dicks, historically, who had their plantation burned to the ground.
Wow.
We open this week with Tara's topic, Nodaway. What about it?
Literally, there's just images on the next page, and we are grateful to the release of the ancestors whose lives were taken at that plantation during their enslavement. I believe there were 155 people enslaved on that plantation. This is also the same plantation that folks had a wedding at, and said it wasn't so bad because they kept families together. And then I thought the first thread that y'all are seeing, was mighty fine and funny, because it said the biggest plantation is still standing. And I don't think any of us would mind if there was a fire that burned that down. So that is the share. Did
Yeah,
we know how it, like, was it arson? Did somebody burn it down, or did it just like combust?
I didn't investigate. I'm happy that it
Okay.
burned. What I did discover upon further digging was that descendants of the slaves there worked on the property to present day.
Oh my god.
So I'm not implicating anybody, and certainly would not want any of the descendants to be cast in this light. But if I were a descendant of a slave on a plantation and I was still having to file a W-2, if my cigarette mistakenly blows out my hand one day, I mean, isn't that what Harriet Tubman would have wanted?
Yeah, I couldn't find the Harriet Tubman image.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it sounds, wouldn't I mean, name an ancestor. They wouldn't mind. And they're not the only one. There's a Confederate museum in North Carolina that's gone up in flames, and there was a third one that's happened since. And if ever there is an opportunity, y'all be lawful and certainly don't get caught. But if ever there was a time for copycat types of demonstrations, if they won't let you go into the street and say, we're gonna get to it later, if they won't let you go into the street and say ceasefire now, or universal health care for everybody, or living wages for everybody, and community care networks for everybody, and food,
Universal basic income. Like, come on, folks.
yeah, if they can't do that, then matches can. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people right now, especially social justice workers and advocates and people who are on the side of humanity and love, they're afraid to go out and protest because the slave patrol, also known as the police, can come and take them away and make like a really hard time for them. I'm not sure if it's in the slide deck today, but there's a woman who is a representative who is in a huge legal battle right now because she went to an ICE detention center, and the government is choosing to press charges against her for her participation.
Was this the lady that tried to prevent the arrest of the mayor? That lady? I can't remember either of their names, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Black rep. ICE. I mean, that's all it's going to take. Charges against Representative LaMonica McIver. What a name, girl. First of all, LaMonica McIver. Yeah, sparks backlash after incident with ICE agents. The New Jersey congresswoman claims the charges are purely political. I mean, you go there to protect human life and to stand for human life. And Ross Baraka, who you were pointing to, the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, was protesting outside of Delaney Hall, a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detention facility, and tensions at the protest escalated. And there was a bunch of pushing and shoving, which we've seen on the video. And they say that Representative LaMonica, which is not her last name, Representative LaMonica McIver, assaulted, impeded, and interfered with law enforcement in violation of Title 18. Of course, that's the Habba that's the Habba that says that you're not supposed to interfere with law. That's why that gentleman was sitting in McDonald's over a coffee, filming antagonistic cops, and they tried to pull this particular code. They try to, as a person who has done bystanding exercises and cop watches over the NYPD in New York City, this is the particular violation they try to get you in. If you're filming from 6 feet away or 12 feet away or from across the room, they try to imply and often interject into the conversation that you are impeding and interfering with a law enforcement action. And if you are in a violation, they'll take you to. And it's just bullying. It's classic bullying. And that's what they're doing to this is what, now you can't make this shit up. This is what acting U.S. Attorney Alina Habba is charging the Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, who was assisting Ross Baraka.
Give me all three names right in a row.
You got Alina Habba going after LaMonica McIver, who was trying to protect Ross Baraka, who was at Delaney Hall trying to get the brown niggas out of Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement. Like, you cannot make this up.
Ooh, I'm laughing so hard I'm crying because
this is crazy. And these are people who are on the opposition side, the non-humanitarian side. You got people who lack empathy. We talk about it every week that we're on the podcast taping. These are people who culturally, as a class and group of people, they culturally lack empathy. They want to see the black mayor of Newark manhandled. They want to see the black woman representative, be the fall person. How many times are black women going to be and I'm talking about just black women, not you other people. But how many times do just black women, it's a specific kind of black woman, okay? All the Creator's righteous children and the Creator's righteous children alone, how many times have these women taken the fall for a man, a black man? Whether the black man was doing good in society or bad in society, they're still having to deal with charges, character assassination. I don't even think we have a slide in this deck about Cassie and the intricacies of what that is. We'll figure out a way to slot it in. Maybe I'll talk about it in my next slide. Clubhouse fines. You cannot go on Clubhouse presently and not hear a conversation about the state of black women, black men, a bunch of religious habababa, some marketing habababa, some interesting things coming out of it.
Marketing habababa has stayed prevalent. Spiritual habababa.
Yeah, but I mean, people believe that there's even I got caught up in the idea that there's a fast and quick and easy way to make money. Like Dr. Flo can show you how to make $500,000 on the
drink the Kool-Aid. I definitely thought I was going to be a millionaire.
But no, have you heard how Dr. Flo can help you make $500,000 cash on the toilet?
Should I take out a credit card so I can pay you for it?
You'll need to definitely. Yeah, you'll definitely get this is not funny, by the way, because this happens to people.
This happens to people.
You'll need to get a home equity, a home equity line of credit.
Yep.
And then after you take out your home equity line of credit, then you need to pay me. And I need nothing less than $50,000 from you, Tara, so I can show you how to 10x.
Where'd my dick go? Here you go.
Where indeed.
Where indeed.
Where indeed. So you got everything from that kind of, y'all, you're going to have to actually roll up your sleeves just a little bit. It's not going to take a lot because these are supercomputers. Tara and I have never met a day in our lives, but we've created hundreds of opportunities for love and joy on the planet and coming out of the darkness of I'm so confused. Why do I feel this way in society? Why are things not adding up? Why am I so afraid? We deconstruct these things in public and also privately in our community every goddamn day. And it's important because you have character assassination. We're talking about the character assassination of one woman of color. I got to get my note card again. LaMonica McIver. Then on the other side of society, we are being forced this narrative of, Cassie, Cassie Ventura and seeing her. You got one black woman who's protecting or seeking to serve and protect, and then you got another woman who is equally under conditions of survival in our society, who's being vilified by a culture of men who want to demonize her as such an esteemed hoe that would warrant her deserving to be dragged through the floor in open sight where we could see. Forget about what's happening to her, and anybody who's come out of abuse knows that what the cameras can see and what's happening behind closed doors are two different things. I keep asking these motherfuckers on Clubhouse, what world do y'all live in where people's mouths are not being pissed in? What worlds and rooms are y'all living in where semen is not being put on the nipples? Y'all must have never been around kinky people. You must have never been to an orgy or a sex party or anything like that. All right. Or you're still pretending in front of your mama and the priest that you don't know what a glory hole is or what a little under the stall action is. Y'all stop. I've gotten to a point right now culturally where people who pretend like they're unaware of these things either need legitimate, quick, in a hurry education, or y'all are fucking insincere. Because I'm trying to figure out, like, golden showers were on the slide deck of the president. Another person prominent in power who loves to get pissed on or pissing on people. I've been pissed on. I'm not talking about that. I'm focusing on the larger picture. I'm not talking about that while talking about that. But like the larger picture is like these acts, being choked out by a dick or whatever. Like, you only want to be so lucky. The larger theme is the pattern of abuse and control that can happen at the hands of a lot of money. You don't want people that have lots of money able to manipulate people's lives. I've had this happen to me on a small level throughout my life, and maybe even currently, where money was allowed to be the strings that pulled, like, there are a lot of ways to become a victim of someone. And a lot of people use money and power and opportunity to influence someone to do things that they would not do. Also, none of y'all, see, this is why y'all whisper in corners and pretend like you don't know what a golden shower is, because you don't want the same feeling that Cassie and her family were leaning into experiencing. Toxic shame, guilt, and embarrassment. And a lot of y'all out there, we keep it a buck, are motivated by toxic shame. I'm not. They beat the fuck up out of they beat that out of me in the last 4 years. But toxic shame, guilt, and embarrassment is something that people feel inside of their hearts and their chests, like really scared of. And a person, could keep like, why does she go back into the hotel room? Why does she get raped on the floor and then go back? It's because your whole livelihood and lifestyle and reputation is tied around things publicly looking good, even though it's shitty behind the scenes. And anybody who's been raised by a black man who said, don't tell anybody outside of our house what goes on, that's family business. We keep family business to ourselves. Anybody who's ever been abused by a motherfucker like that knows what a ditty is like. I'm going to yield to Tara, but what it's showing me is that there are a lot of casual and professional abusers watching. I said it last week or in another room because my throat chakra is not blocked in any way. Watch acutely how the men in your life are talking about Diddy. If they're talking about the young lady as if she's a hoe and she had it coming and she was a gold digger and all that stuff, you know exactly what kind of man of any variety you're dealing with. If the gentleman acknowledges that a golden shower can be nice if your partner's into it, and it is a consensual act. It is very consensual, right? But if it's not consensual and if it is coercive, if it's giving any of this, you can't, like, do as I say because I am providing for you, or do as I say because I'm financing, feeding, and fucking you, whether you're being fucked by a sex worker or the person in question who allegedly was wearing one of those little Muslim masks while having dudes do things to him. But see, once again, y'all, if you've ever seen someone in a mask online sucking a dick, you'll know that this is real. What we cannot abide in a society, though, and I'll yield, is abusers on the loose, especially prominent ones. What say you about? I said a lot.
What I want to say, firstly, is that a lot of these things that we're talking about, these sexual acts, these things, should not be the salacious part of the story. And that is what is being treated as the most salacious part of the story, as opposed to focusing on the abusive nature of this human being and many others. And the other thing that I have noticed, and part of this was in the TMZ that we were watching last night, is how abusive the law is. right? Because they were talking about police reporting. Like, why didn't Cassie just go to the police? Why didn't Cassie just go to the police? First of all, you're dealing with a multimillionaire with a whole bunch of people hiding these things from the public, or trying, like, I mean, I don't even know if they tried, because I feel like we knew a lot of these things. A lot of these things are reflected in people's music. Like, if you listen to their music and you hear it referenced in their music, it's kind of like drunk mouths speak sober hearts, like, it's that same thing. Like, we've known these things about uh, people in the industry, because they talk about them in their music.
They sure do.
And
I'm gonna interject and just say, Jamila Lamo, just to add, one more log to this shitty fire. Jamila Lamo, who is a writer for Vanity Fair, LA Times, The Nation, a pod host on Slate, a commentator on Surviving R. Kelly, and she said this morning, or no, sorry, 2 days ago on Threads, I was raped in Maryland in 2007. I never heard from the police again after leaving the station that night. Someone just called me and told me that my rape kit had been recently tested. There was a positive DNA match, and the guy was already in the system as an offender from 2007. However, they can't do anything about it because dot dot dot.
he's dead. Yeah, I saw that whenever that got posted. And again, like, what they were talking about on TMZ, and one of the rooms on Clubhouse that we went to, because we're talking about these rooms on Clubhouse, is like this want to align everything with the law, which the law is abusive. Like, the way the law functions is victim blaming, it is harassment, it is abuse. Like, and I think that's the part we should be focusing on, not the salaciousness of a sex party. Like, whether you've heard of it or not, in America, we're like, and across the world, these things happen. Actually, sex is talked about in the Bible, folks. So, like, you Bible thumpers.
The sex parties are not an issue for me. I've been to many an orgy, had a great time. This is about the security guard who got paid to take down the story of her being dragged through the hall. Like
Right.
This is about law enforcement people who are also like complicit in the bribes and the crimes
By a person who got money and power and is abusive. We talked about that in some Clubhouse room of, like, do people turn abusive, or are they just, like, already abusive? And the fact of the matter is, like, I think a lot of the reason, and we were talking about this in reference, I think, to light workers, and why light workers, like, the room had started with why light workers sit alone. But I think a lot of it has to do with this idea that, like, the people going after this money and power, like, Diddy wanted to create a very specific world. And he created it, and he went for that type of money and power because he wanted to create this type of world. This was in his noggin. He did not think twice about throwing Cassie on that floor and beating her. He did not think twice. Y'all saw him. He was just worried that his butt was going to show up on the camera that he knew was behind him. He was holding his towel. Y'all have seen it.
There was the modesty towel. He didn't want us to see. He didn't want us to see the Tootsie Roll, as it was explained.
Right. We don't know what's underneath there, right?
He said it was a Tootsie Roll.
People that are not wanting to create that kind of abusive environment aren't going for that kind of money and power. And they're certainly not exerting that type of power, because I think if we went back far enough in Diddy's history, and this is what they're trying to establish, right? Because this is not a domestic violence case. This is a case of federal racketeering, right? I think if we went back to before Diddy was famous, we would find instances of abuse in his life. That, I think Cassie is the biggest example they can find, because he was with Cassie for 11 years. And the last thing I'll say, that I find that many of the Clubhouse rooms, I mean, I haven't been in them for, like, long periods of time, but I feel like also the discussion of consent gets missed a lot. Like, that consent can be given and taken at any time. So you can be in the midst of the orgy, right? And you can say, I'm out. Right? Or you can say, I'm ovulating, and not ever go to the orgy. right? Like you can take it and give it. And so, yes, she probably was raped by Diddy multiple times. And she probably also consented to have sex with him multiple times because that's the way consent works.
And each time she did not consent and it happened to her was an illegal act
Correct.
that people should go to jail for.
Correct.
And we're going to talk about it later. They shouldn't go to jail for 44 years, but they should definitely serve some time. And I'm very interested
Okay.
about what time is going to be served by Diddy because the men and the abusive women are watching to try to see as a litmus test where the world is on people who drag people through hotel hallways. I've had the conversation with my husband about what would happen to his black ass. I don't need a court. It's just I don't need the courts.
You're
And
gonna
that's
be
not to take away from
you're gonna
I don't need the I don't we it would never make it to court. But that's not a commentary on what Ms. Ventura is going through. It is just make sure that you protect yourself is where I'll go with that. Political news with Tara. What we got here?
Hello. If you wouldn't mind making that big because these are small. Basically the big thing right now, there's some other stuff that has gone on. Y'all know about the NEA grants that have been ripped. Y'all know that this government, this regime is trying to take they're implementing Project 2025. The other news that before I read what's on the screen here is that the fifth, count them, five, the fifth Democrat has now died in office. Jerry Connolly died yesterday in office. He was the highest ranking official, Democratic official on the House Oversight Committee that Nancy Pelosi pushed through instead of AOC and now possibly instead of Jasmine Crockett as that position is replaced. But this is ridiculous. Y'all go sit down and stop voting these geezers in. Like, please stop voting for these old ass people that do
What was that
not.
man's name again so we can look up his financial ties?
Jerry Conley, Gerry, I believe, and then Conely. He done died. Representative. He was 80 some years old. Did you find him? OpenSecrets.org.
That's where I am. GBA Associates, Fairfax County, Virginia, Service Employees International Union, Case Point. Service Employees International Union, that's a good. Yeah, he doesn't seem to be as corrupt as the others.
I've been hearing that
Large
like,
individual contributions. No PAC.
Yeah, I've heard that he was actually a decent human, but like, why are you up there? Like at that age, and he knew he had cancer. His cancer came back.
Right.
His cancer came back, and he still didn't step down and give anybody the chance. It's the same thing that Biden did, right, y'all? And so Under the Desk News had a video this morning that I saw on TikTok and was talking about this. And it just really, truly is very frustrating that these people are staying in office and the public is voting for them when they're 75, 80, 85. Dianne Feinstein, she died when she was like 90 years old.
That was crazy.
Like, please.
Clinging to power and control.
Right. Go sit in your old folks' home and die in peace.
Oh,
My God. Okay, so now I'll read this because this is the big news of the day and the last couple days. And actually the last few weeks. So Jasmine Crockett says the big beautiful bill ain't beautiful, it's bullshit. House Republicans just voted for the largest cut to SNAP and Medicaid in U.S. history, turning their backs on their own damn constituents, the working people they were sent here to represent. They don't serve the people, they serve the rich. And the Reclaimed says 80% of Americans don't want to reduce Medicaid. Almost 80 million people rely on Medicaid. 40% of the nation's births, that's a hard word, births, including nearly half of all rural births, are covered by Medicaid. The majority of Medicaid beneficiaries are disabled or elderly. The electeds who voted for this show who they work for, and it's not the American people. So essentially, there's been this budget bill and this they call it the BBB, the Big Beautiful Bill. That's what Trumpykins calls it. They've been trying to push this bill through that cuts, as you see, SNAP, Medicaid, and parts of Medicare through for since Trump took office. It was one of the reasons that Cory Booker did his speech, which, by the way, Cory Booker, why are you confirming criminals? That's a weird thing.
Kushner's daddy. Kushner's daddy, who sent a prostitute to one of his family members so that his sister would get into, like, what?
Wild.
Like, tries to incriminate his own family in a sex scandal in order to tamper with the law. And this is the person, like, I love the, not loved, but I saw the quote on Threads. Cory Booker stood up for, didn't go to the bathroom for 25 hours only to shit the bed.
Precisely.
Precisely. But we told y'all the whole time that he was standing there that, like, his words were very, very cute, and his and the way he lightens his voice to make himself very palatable to that particular cultural group.
And we all cried. Okay, we were there crying like that we broke the record and da da da.
Yeah.
And
two things can be true at the same time, y'all.
Right.
Yeah, I can walk and chew gum.
So this will go to the Senate, which will inevitably confirm it because the Senate is even more lopsided than the House.
And people will suffer.
And people will die because of this rollback, this particular rollback. So this is not cute. And just a reminder that we've been living under fascism for the better part of 20 years. In case you're wondering, it didn't just happen in January. It's been here. Okay, I yield. Let us move on.
More interesting news. There's a gentleman who went to prison in North Carolina at 16 years old for allegedly raping a woman in her 50s in the community I currently reside in, building this love experience tour from hell. He's still there, but I've talked to multiple murderers in the last couple of weeks. And these are people who you're going to see on the podcast soon. These are second chance humans who are able to rehabilitate into society and actually overcome the legal system in a way that allows them to be reformed murderers. You can look up many people who have done these things. They've got the little tears on their eyes and everything. Because they've taken a life and they're out free. This gentleman did not take a life. I believe he was framed by the police and the law establishment here in this community. I believe that he was made an example of. And there is a reason why private and public jails want to keep prisoners in slave chains for 40 cents a day wage. Because these jail systems are modern enslavement. And I'm not going to stop talking about justice for Charles McNair and Charles himself, because we were introduced to his story. We were also introduced to the people who are supposedly helping him to get out. They give scholarships at the local high school in his name. It was so weird to read one of the articles that I did read from... what's that lady's publication called?
David Simoko?
Yeah. The way they were positioning this scholarship in the guy's name who's in jail was that, Charles was trying to make... Charles essentially is just trying to give someone the life that he never had. He's trying to give this local senior a scholarship and an opportunity to live in a way that he never had the opportunity to. And I get the sentiment of it, but I'm like, it's absurd to me that a man behind bars for 44 years Like the best example that he can give to a person who is free is being free himself. And so it's weird to me to see two prominent leaders, two prominent black leaders. I'm not even gonna get into the fact that the kid looks nothing like Charles, but that could be colorism on Dr. Flo's part. That could also be me looking for the one drop. It could be that could be a lot of that happening there, and I'm welcome. I welcome that discussion as well. But the kid looks nothing like Charles, and I'm happy that he got the money to become uh, to go to school. Like I never want to take away from the kindness, and I think that it's bizarre. I think that it's very, very bizarre that Charles was accused of raping this old white woman who was notorious for getting the young black men in the community drunk and high and using their bodies for you know what freak offs. This woman was hosting her own 16-year-old black men freak offs in the
What
local community.
what we don't really want to talk about is how many women also have one of those 70,000 men chats. Because
Absolutely.
that TMZ episode when they was talking about how harshly women judge other women.
It's because the women are also abusing the children. The
That part.
white women are abusing the children. The black women are abusing the children, and y'all gotta come clean about this shit. How the fuck does a 52-year-old woman even be raped by a 16-year-old? Now listen, folks, I understand the technical element of it, and I understand how it could happen. I just think that to have this discussion without this lady also being called a child molester and a child rapist and a child predator is what they're missing. And they love to give these
Yeah.
scholarships to the local high school, and they love to clean the narrative from the fact that there are white women abusers, predators, and molesters that they do not want to acknowledge in the story. They have a problem with me because I want to talk about the whole thing. I want to talk about how they ignore my black ass, 41 years old in this community, and Charles has been in jail longer than I've been on the planet. But it's a protection of white women, including the white woman that runs his board. They move in very, very interesting ways. And what's done in the wash is going to come out in the rinse. But I'm trying to connect the dots on why they can give money to give a child a life, but they can't find resources and means and a group of people to help to actually allow Charles to have the life he's giving to someone else after, for the crime he committed, the most time that he should have done was like 12 to 16 years or something like that, like on the high end. So like he should have served from the 70s, 16 years, and then been back out in society. But, white women in this community are still afraid of black men. And Charles serves as a representative of that. Bizarre. But we will keep speaking up for you, sir. We will keep reading the poetry that I guess you're sliding under the glass or whatever to Wanda. Nuts. Meanwhile, I'm watching the news and people are getting out of jail after being in there for 40 years all the time. There are people who are actually getting this done, but they're giving scholarships and trying to look nice, in front of the government institutions that want to get free labor off my guy. 40 cents a day? That's enslavement. And they moved him around to multiple jails to keep the freedom fighters from getting to him. Bizarre. Bizarre. Jim Crow in 2025. Closing thoughts on that, Tara, before we move the fuck on. I'm so
Uh, I'm on this consent thing today, y'all. It does really anger me when, in particular, allegedly white men speak on consent because it's almost universally wrong. So that's why I'm on a tirade of consent today. But it's really interesting to me for them to say that we know why he was convicted of the supposed crime that was committed, but it's really, and Poppy Water talked about this in a clubhouse room yesterday, of the adultification of black people in general, because according to the laws, you are not an adult until you are 18, and therefore you cannot give consent to have sex with someone over 18.
Say it one more time for the num
You,
nums in the back.
you cannot, according to our federal laws, although in some states they say that the age of consent is 16. Okay, so some states, I don't know if North Carolina is that state, but in the majority of the states and the country, the age of consent and the age of being adult is 18. Okay, so you cannot give consent even in a quote unquote consensual relationship between a 16-year-old and a 19-year-old, let's say that, right? Or a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old. You cannot give consent. The person that is under the age of 18 cannot give consent. So how can that person, a 16-year-old, then be the rapist when consent cannot be given because the other person is over 18? That does not make any sense.
They're holding on in this backwards place that the age of consent in 1977 and the age of consent now is 16.
But wasn't he was younger at the time of the crime.
When this all started, this all started with
He was
him
like
running
14.
through the back. This all started with him running through the backyard of a prominent attorney and being
Right.
held on that attorney's porch until the police could come under gun.
Right. Right.
So this is just a person in the community that the white men in power decided to make a public enemy, to hold Confederate and very conservative think tanks around the jailing and prosecuting of black people in this community. So you have a whole generation of black leadership that's in jail or got shot. We still remember Mr. Terry who got shot by the
Mm-hmm.
KKK down the street, but yet
Mm-hmm.
disappeared off my radar because I wasn't giving him a certificate or booty clapping for him and wanted him to actually speak up for what happened then and now, and he distanced himself because there's no I guess there's no plaque in it.
There could have been. We could have gotten
I mean,
Angie.
Angie could have sent him some shit to put on his
Angie
wall,
could have
but
made
I'm not in the
something.
interest of. I'm not here for a fucking piece of wood. I'm here for radical change, and y'all play too much.
Right.
What is this? That's right here in this deck. That's this doesn't have a heading on it or
It
anything.
didn't have a heading because I don't know why it didn't have a heading. Anyway, this is the other thing, folks. CDC won't tell you this, so I will. COVID rates are spiking again. People are out here sick as fuck. Mask up if you can. I would argue that most people can, and that we should have been masking the whole time anyway. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. While the FDA is removing the COVID vaccine from the majority of the population or access to the COVID vaccine, the COVID rates are spiking again as another way to have a mass disabling event, because this entire regime is about, y'all, I need you to go listen to Crutches and Spice, okay? It's about eugenics. It is about it's a mass disabling event in order to kill off a majority of the population, with the exception of rich, white, cis het men. That is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's eugenics.
Mm-hmm.
So just be aware that COVID is still alive and well. We do not know what it does in the long term. We know about COVID over the last 6 years. Wear a mask. That's all. That's all.
They know that people are going to try to suicide themselves through the foods that they eat. They know that people are not going to mask up. Y'all still not washing your hands and self-caring. They know that you don't like it here on the planet. The majority of people do not like it here. And so you're just living in ways where you don't care. You do not care to mask up. You don't care to wash your hands. You don't care to do any of those things. Just know that you are strategically being unalived by rich people who do not care about you. They don't care about your grandma. They don't care about your grandpa. They don't care about where you came from.
Your death, baby, is not going to be the thing that ends the wheel. Okay?
It's not going to break the wheel. It's not going to do any of that. And by the way, you should be paying attention to the things they're making up, like white genocide in South Africa. We got actual people who are going to get sick here through COVID and other introduced phenomenon.
Right. I've been watching this lady. This has nothing to do with diseases, but it does have to do with introducing things that were not here. There's this lady on TikTok raising a starling Okay, it's a European starling. It's not supposed to be here. It was introduced in like the 1800s into New York, into Central Park in New York, and now it has overtaken. And they're asshole birds. And so, like, this is a whole thing. I have learned so much on TikTok. But anyway, from this one lady who has also done research, and she can't. She's like, I cannot ethically release this bird out back into the wild because it's a harmful invasive species of bird. So basically, the bird is now hers because she saved it from falling out of the nest, which it was probably pushed out of because it's a harmful bird. Anyway, it's a whole thing. I will send the video to somewhere in the
Yeah,
in
it's a
WhatsApp.
very it's an invasive species as they call it. It they can be crazy smart and they can mimic and things, but
Yeah, apparently they're like parrots. Like they can and like mocking jays. Those of you that have read Hunger Games, you know what I'm talking about. Like
yeah.
that's creepy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
y'all, look out for those sterlings, especially when you tell your lies. I want to talk a bit about the government moves this week. There's been so much going on. We saw the president of South Africa go and basically, like, yo, Trump, you're living in your own reality. Like, you're living in your own world. You are making up your own rules. My live access got removed for misinformation. Yeah, TikTok, what you got going on, streamed on
COVID is
5/22.
not misinformation. The Starling is not misinformation. Get out here.
Well, I mean, that's let's see. I'll be back on TikTok on May the 29th. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because number one, one monkey don't stop the show. TikTok has not done anything beneficial to my life in many months, so I don't feel a pain about it anymore. But I do want to make you all very mindful that in the same way that I got taken down for just speaking freely here with all of you, that's the kind of fear and paranoia vibration they want to breed into people. And they're trying to literally take away our ability to speak freely about things happening. Now, let's connect the dots here. If we're talking about you all washing your hands and protecting yourself and staying alive, we were advocating for you all staying alive, healthy, and out of the clutches of rich white people and those who look like them in that class level. Why would they want to remove my ability to say that unless, to my point, they wanted you niggas to die? You saw it happen in real time.
I said ceasefire now in some post like last week, and Instagram came back and said to me like your account has been flagged for like something, and it was like if you continue to do the behavior, you will be removed. And I was like, cool.
And then they wonder why Israeli embassy representatives are being gunned down.
Gunned down.
But it's because people are tired of trying to get the word out about the harm and also getting the word out about harm reduction. Now, I'm not going to go and shoot up an embassy.
We're not.
But I could
Yeah.
understand the conditions that would cause a person like a Luigi Mangione or Mr. Raymond Hinton Jr. I understand why they take these justice moves into their own hands, because if you're trusting TikTok or Facebook or YouTube or any platform to maintain justice and to bring you justice, you'll be waiting forever.
Right. Right.
I mean, and we're in the government moves segment, and the government literally shut me down.
That part.
So, what more do y'all need to see? Ceasefire now. What say you about what's happening in Gaza? These people are still starving Palestinian children.
I don't know what this one says. Does it say? Let's see. The situation for Palestinians in Gaza is beyond description, beyond atrocious, and beyond inhumane. A policy of siege and starvation makes a mockery of international law. The blockade against humanitarian aid must end immediately. This is a moment for moral clarity and action. Um, Here's the deal. I also saw another thread that said, you know, Israeli government, we are going to kill all the Palestinians. Um, other people, like people across the world, news stations. You know, Israel says they're going to kill all of the Palestinians. The American government, that's an anti-Semitic statement. This is happening. This is literally. Where's my? Sorry, y'all. This is happening. This is happening. Like I know it's easy to feel like it's like we can't do anything in America, but standing up for it, talking about it, calling your reps. I know most of them are backed by APAC. I get it. It feels futile. It feels useless. It feels like that. But you also don't want to be the person that sits in silence on this. Whatever you're doing now is what you would have done in the Holocaust or any of those other things that you all hold so dear to your heart because they happen to white people, not brown people.
It's why I have a hard time holding respect for people who are even close to me, because you're one of those whisperers. In the Holocaust, in Middle Passage experience and beyond, there's my husband. There'll be people who would be whispering about it. And it's like, yo, I cannot be around an unsafe energy like that. Go on.
Yeah, I was pretending to whisper. But I really we had a conversation in a clubhouse room a while ago. Maybe not a while ago, maybe it was last week, but we were talking about spirituality, and we were talking about essentially like who or how is God. And I think one of the things about religion that I always have to remember, so that I don't go into a space of like demonizing religion or hating religion, is that religion started out with the intention to understand something that was going on around them. And I think there has been a bastardization of religion that allows for genocides to happen, like the genocide that is happening to Gaza. And I also sense that there is some prevalence to the statement that if we just let Gaza fall, right? This is one of those things that shows up in books a lot, like fantasy books of like, how much death can you hold? Like if we just let a certain amount of the populace die, then the rest will live, or like then that government will stop. I don't think that's the case with Israel, in the same way that it's not the case with Russia. Like these are
They're not
two,
going to stop.
in the same way that it's the case with America, with the United States. Like y'all got to stop believing that just because we take over one thing that we're just going to be like, yeah, we took over that. It's good. We're cool.
They're colonizers. They
Right.
literally
Like
were looking into Greenland like
day
day
before
before
yesterday.
yesterday.
Yeah. So like the idea that this is going to, first of all, I don't know how you turn a blind eye to, like, I think somewhere said like 40,000 babies, children were going to die by the end of the week because of this blockade.
You said 40,000 children are going to die by the end of the
So
week?
many children. Children are dying. I remember the number 4. I think it said 40,000. It could have been 4,000, but either way, it's too many.
That's
It is
crazy.
too many. And if you think that this is going to stop at the Gaza Strip, you are wrong, because they are already implementing the beginning stages of a ethnic cleansing on the West Bank. They are already waltzing into other countries and bombing them. This will not stop just because we let Gaza take the brunt of it.
14,000.
Thank you. There was a 4.
The UN
Hyperbolic
official
number.
recently warned that 14,000 babies in Gaza could be at risk of dying in the coming months if the humanitarian situation doesn't improve drastically. These warnings highlight the urgent need for increased humanitarian aid and a resolution to the conflict to prevent further suffering and loss of life. Nuts.
Nuts.
Nuts. Nuts. Y'all really don't have a sanctity for life. And so that's why I'm only looking to align with and give my time, talent, and treasure to people who are trying to do something positive, because the passive people and the people who are just supporting this, it's just not okay to me. We use emergent strategy here in our network. We are not concretized people. We're not people who believe we know everything and know it all. We pride ourselves on being lifelong learners. And I just left this slide in from the last deck because you got to stay open, folks. You got to stay honest, open, willing, and available to your life. As long as you are honest, open, willing, and available to your life, you can afford, the time, talent, and treasure to just chill out. But you're going to have to lean further into honesty around the subject matter that we've discussed today and around your personal inner state. You have to maintain an openness to the world and to the suffering of people who don't resemble you. Once again, we talk every week about the fact that what's emergent for me is that we have a communications issue in our society and an empathy issue. Like, I need to be in a town and an environment where someone wants to hold vigil for peace and love and hope to counteract what's happening on the news. I have yet to meet a community leader in my zip code who wants to radically bring attention to to the easement of conflict.
Right.
I don't know who's in your area that is someone tonight who's trying to find solutions and hold space for something of a higher vibration. They're really trying to take us under. I want to encourage you all in this slide to pay attention to what's happening around you, to ask for help and don't stop asking until you get it, to insist upon a continuity of care towards you and the causes you care about. And also this question that we've been pondering in a community with a gentleman named Daniel, is there enough? Is there enough energy? Is there enough? Is there enough energy for you today to make a difference? Is there enough energy if you make a call? Is there enough love in your life, enough empathy to raise your voice? Is there enough? We know that there's enough food. We know there's enough materials. They say that the planet, they say the planet can only handle 10 billion people, but we've only got 8. So there's enough resources in order to come into something positive, but we don't seem to see it. Like, what is emergent strategy teaching you, Tara, about the state of society and the way things are unfolding in the present moment?
I saw you comment on a thread this morning, and I think it was like somebody was saying something about community and how like community was a dirty word. I think,
Oh my God,
and
yeah.
like
Jesus.
I have heard people say that too. I've been a person that like, and we've talked about this in terms of like mindset coaching, but like one of the reasons that I shy away from building community publicly is because it has been so colonized by people that are not doing emergent strategy community. They're doing colonized community, right? They're doing cult community.
Do as I say.
Right, right. And so for me, I think that room today was really like I went back to our private chat because I was like, what was the question that he asked? What do I have enough of? And that like really kind of struck me into like, what do I have enough of today in order to move something, right? What do I have enough of in this moment right now to move forward a dream that I have? What do I have enough of to align with the principles of emergent strategy? What do I have enough of to not be rescued from, as we talked about in the clubhouse room this morning? What do we have enough of? Like, do I have enough boundaries? Right? These type of things. So like, I really enjoyed the combination of those questions. And then I just keep reminding myself, as Daniel talked about today too, that everything is just a choice. It is a choice to lead your life this way versus a different way. Right? It is a choice to check in with books like this. And like, I have a book that I'm going to start reading on Clubhouse because I met this person on Clubhouse. I don't know if she's still there, but called, it's got 7 unrules in it, right? So 7 ideas that are, unrules. How do you get unfucked? There's a book called How to Not Give a Fuck, right? Like, and
Art
there's
of not
a
giving a
book
fuck.
after that.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is fucked, right? Like, these are so like, it's a choice. It is a choice to look at that stuff and understand that people feel that way, or people believe in these things, or people have been made to give their consent to have those ideas in their head, right? Um,
It's a choice, Tara, and it's also an agreement. I can't get away from
yeah,
this man's teaching about agreements because we found even in this space today that there is a disagreement between the ethos and a philosophy of TikTok. Once again, we found for like the sixth, seventh, eighth time, we found that like there are platforms like now we're back on Twitch. So there are platforms like Twitch and Facebook and YouTube at times that are in agreement with free speech. If,
right,
if there's a platform or a person or entity or an environment in your life where there's not agreement, that's the time to go.
right.
You do not agree with liberating people. You do not agree with feeding everybody. You do not agree with holding space for harmony and balance. Let's just stop talking. I'm not going to say anything untoward to you. I'm not going to call you a name. I'm just going to cross to the other side of the street and find someone who is in agreement with my values and the types of things that I want to produce and give to the planet before I'm out of here. And emergent strategy is really showing me some things in addition to leading us to these philosophies like, is there enough? And the biggest thing that I've been harping on, and he said, pick one and just go with it and see where the movement takes you. Is there enough agreement?
Hmm.
Was there enough agreement today for Tara and I to come in and to tape this podcast? Is there enough agreement with Twitch, for me to stay platformed? Clearly, TikTok still has an issue with free speech and people speaking their minds freely. They put me on ice for 7 days. I do not care anymore because of the recognition that me and that platform are not in agreement. And I can let it go. I can really let it go. I can let it go and start back working on the Love Revival and Academy. Y'all, Poppy Water and I and team are going to pull into many a city. And it is our intention to give a hopeful message to kids of all ages. This idea that you are loved and lovable, and that there are ways, including color magic, that you can express yourself, your feelings, and your needs in your seeds today. And I cannot wait to introduce this new selector tool. We saw this morning from some of our collaborators and future collaborators that tools and quizzes and doodads that show people how they fit in and plug into the whole is in right now. And so if you're out there and you are interested in coming into harmony and agreement with a hopeful song, a hopeful way to support one another, healthy smiles, and a little dose of shenanigans, we would love for you to go to lovedandlovable.bio.link, 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 and consider linking arms with us today. Did you want to tell them a bit about Adopt a Black Artist Program, some of the artists that we have curated, and then what we want to see happen in a program like this?
Yeah. So, we've talked about it all day, but this idea, one of the things that Dr. Flo and I try to combat is with Love in Action Network and our individual projects is to have actual community. There are a lot of things trying to tear us apart from each other. TikTok, Instagram, Threads, you name it. Literally, the institutions that pay us, right? Us fighting for grants, like that's a real life thing.
Someone telling me I should go into the nonprofit industrial complex after I know that they're all doing the Hunger Games for even lesson funds.
Right, right,
Come on.
exactly. So we're hoping to combat multiple things with the Adopt a Black Artist campaign. We have noticed that lots of people don't know how to share their social media platforms. Lots of y'all won't put any face other than your own on your social media, and quite frankly, I think that is weird because the world does not revolve around you. Your world revolves around you, but like you got to have people. You got to have people. You got to have people. So we're combating that. So we're putting other people's faces on our social media. Number two, we know that Black artists and Black people are, as you just saw with TikTok, pushed down into the algorithm, right? They are pushed down
Pushed
by
off, pushed down, pushed
pushed
off.
off. Yes. So we are often hidden from the algorithms. We're hidden from the people that we're trying to reach. And so we're trying to combat that. And then also, people have needs. Everybody has a need. Everybody ask for help and don't stop asking until you get it, right? And so a lot of artists, as we've talked about, have smaller pools to pull from, smaller funds, smaller audiences because of the algorithms, et cetera. So we are trying to just publicize what they need, and we're hoping this grows into both a directory that you all can go to peruse and pick the artists that you want to support, or all of them, and also just a community of a place where Black artists can come and get help, and just get the help that they need, because
That's
we
like a
have.
major thing. Like there are people out here who would be intentionally overlooked in a lot of ways. We are, but Tara and I are tough cookies, man. We refuse to take no for an answer. If there's something in our hearts that we know we really, really are called to, she doesn't even use that language. Something that she really, really desires to do and put into the planet, like we go for it. We may get knocked down in the dirt. We may have middays, but we keep showing up, and we want to encourage other people to link arms together. There is strength in numbers. There is strength in community. Community is not a dirty C word, and we're here for you, and want to support. And if you are honest, open, willing, and available, all of our, leftover and overflow time, talent, and treasure is yours. I'm currently hiring for the Love Experience. Got to call in essential staff. We had a meeting on Monday about this and just getting this stuff moving forward. I'm very, very excited about the future. I'm excited. Exerted. I'm exerted and I'm excited because I don't need the 250 voice choir today. I don't need all of the songs for the show today. I need the people I have and those who are coming one by one to build this dream. Every dream we've ever tried to manifest in all of our lives have happened one step at a time. As Emergent Strategy says, one critical connection at a time. And just knowing who wants to love you and love your dreams is so important, because with that kind of energy and energy, you're able to really overcome any challenge. And I want to encourage everybody to ask, believe, and then receive the help. Some of you are asking, then you waffle in and out of believing that you can actually have it, and then you're never able to actually take it in. A gentleman over on Clubhouse this morning was talking about working in 12-step programs with addicts, and how many addicts he's lost to alcoholism, people who've unalived or died from being alcoholics. He was very clear about the fact that you cannot help everybody. There are people who will receive the message of healing and take it in, and then there's some who will just die in their dis-ease. And we really hope that everybody who wants to make a difference in their community and also in their inner and outer heart in the world will just come on board, and we will continue to do our part to make it easy for you to access us and to work with us, because we've got amazing things coming, including a to be determined date. But I'm excited to be working with Tara on a Black composer and classical music summit with some. Hasn't even been completely fleshed out yet, but I know that I want it to be part of this Black in the Canon experience, because Tara and so many others in passing, and not so passing, have told me about their experiences and culturally, and was culturally competent, or being proven culturally competent in spaces because of a certain idea that there's a right way to do classical music and then there's a different way to do it. And can you tell people a bit more about what you're looking to do through this Black in the Canon program?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, I want people to know that their style of art matters and it has a place in classical music. Uh, and lots of it is already written that is fully ignored, you know, and fully put under the rug. And we're still discovering things, even when we think about the dead white composers like Bach. Many of his pieces weren't discovered until well after his death. So these are things that are fairly common in the classical world, and I am fighting to have accessibility of Black music, to have funding for Black music, and to have the education around Black music. Uh, all three of those are missing in our collegiate institutions, in our undergraduate institutions, in our choirs, in our representation of culture inside of classical music. It's a very white dominant space. Um, and I believe that we can change that.
Thank you, Tara. I am over telling the fun bunch over in our WhatsApp community that TikTok banned me again for misinformation, trying to keep people safe as they take the COVID vaccine off the market as we have a spike in the virus. We're now live on Twitch and we'll probably stay there because I'm just tired. They have deplatformed me for shit I've said. They've deplatformed me for being Black excellence. They've deplatformed me for speaking up against the ills of the world. They've deplatformed me for things that my partner has said. They just clearly want a very bland and homogenous kind of environment where there's no diversity of thought. I mean, some of y'all you don't even realize the reason why you're walking around in life feeling bored or sad or depressed is because there's no alternative opinion to what's happening in your hypnotic rhythm. You're hearing the same people. If you're into seeing bombs fall or devastation, that algorithm is just going to serve up devastation. I don't really flip through TikTok like I used to because it's trying to scare us instead of bring us together. So just know I'll be on Twitch, carrying on and living my truth. And if that platform goes away, we'll move to the next one, and we'll keep going. There was a point where the most free I felt was recording in a Telegram space because no one could come in and deplatform, and I could just relaunch. So if we end up, y'all, because
And
remember,
truly, we've never been banned from a clubhouse room
and we've never been banned from a clubhouse room, not ever, ever, ever. So I
ever,
mean,
ever.
just know that as we are trying to liberate classical spaces and spiritual spaces and political spaces and casual spaces with our presence, because some people go running, y'all, when we come into a space because they got to be real today. It's crazy over in Clubhouse. When Dr. Flo comes into a space, they go, hey, Flo. And then all of a sudden, everyone has to be accountable for their energy and behaviors and action. That's good for us. Accountability is not dirty. High standards is not dirty. Loving one another fiercely is not dirty. Community is not dirty. Asking for help is not dirty. It's just not. Someone's going to help you. I believe in the economy of kindness, and auditions are coming up for the Love Experience. We've talked about that plenty, and just know that if you would like to use your voice in a powerful way, Tara, Taira, or Taira, um,
Tiara.
Tiara, Tiara, Princess Tiara uses her voice powerfully every day, in real life and online. I do the same thing. And if you're interested in wanting to courageously release your voice into the world, we would love to be in relationship with you. Remember, we talk about it all the time. Your breakthrough is going to start with your first hello to a stranger. Your breakthrough is going to come through being kinder to your wife and your kids and your husband. Your breakthrough is going to come from speaking up your needs, or speaking up about your needs, and also letting people know what you offer to the world and just connecting those dots. Remember, again, as it relates to using your voice, you're not looking for people that want to argue. You're not looking for people who want to be in their drama addicted tone. Or to catch the latest tea. You're going to get tea if you're around our network because we're humans and humans love, we don't agree always. So you're going to get that part of life, but it's not the main event. The main event is love, expression, and clarity of purpose that allows you to feel good about the day you're having. If you're not clear about your true purpose on the planet and your true calling and your true gifts, you'll be roaming around thinking you have nothing of value to offer. Tara has plenty to offer. My husband has plenty to offer. Everybody that stays around us has a wholeness condition. It's not a mental health condition. It's a wholeness condition. Even Angie threw me one the other day, because we are aligning with that idea that we are whole enough and capable enough to see our dreams through just for today. And I want to thank Tara for meandering through the woods of life for an hour and 15 with me. And just, if you're going to get banned with a buddy.
Have a band buddy. Yeah.
You
It's like
know,
a COVID pod buddy.
exactly. If you're gonna say radical things, and this goes out to the whole world, and this is not us pushing our coaching, although we should push it more. Just know that if you're going to be a radical energy, if you're going to be different, if you're going to be unique, it might behoove you, as my mentors used to say, to be in community. Community gives you a refuge that you can go back to when people treat you like your stand for love and belonging is hababab. And for, and for 4 years now, every time I've walked in with a lot of bullshit sometimes in the boardroom in the safe spaces, but by and large, when I've come in for the last 4 years and said, like, I'm not getting a feedback from society that what I'm doing matters. I'm not getting a feedback from society that there's growth in my life because I just got banned from TikTok less than 15 minutes ago. It's important to have someone in your life and in your corner, or a group of people in your life in your corner, who say, it ain't you. This is spiritual warfare. It ain't you. They're trying to take your joy. It ain't you. They're trying to make you feel like you don't belong to the earth. All right. So, just mind the company that you're keeping. Keep hope alive in your heart. And when one door closes, like a TikTok or any platform, just know that windows still remain able to be opened. What are your closing thoughts, Paolo?
Just don't be
Don't be a dick.
don't be a dick and don't be afraid. Don't like I know that's such a silly thing to say because it's like, you tell people to like don't tense up, they're going to tense up. Don't be scared, they're going to be scared. But you know, if there's anything that I have learned over my life and over the last 4 years of being a part of Love and Action Network, it is to not be afraid to just speak it, no matter how crazy, no matter how like heavy it is, no matter like whatever it is, no matter how silly it is, or even if they don't get the joke, because sometimes I come in with a joke and ain't nobody gets it, and that's okay. It's okay. Or no one understands my song reference because it's a white lady song and ain't nobody be listening to the white ladies. So just don't just try to find a way to combat the fear, so that the fear is not the thing that stops you. Because if we're really honest with ourselves, a lot of the time, actually I would say all of the time, I'm going to be bold and say all of the time, the fear is the thing that stops us. And that is why other things win, because we are stuck in our fear. That's all.
Yes, and congratulations to Dee Dee, who got into the National Honor Society. That's got word. Congratulations. You've been selected for membership in the, I won't do that and dox anybody, but a local chapter of the National Honor Society. Your selection was based upon careful consideration of your scholarship, service, leadership, and character by our faculty council. And Dee Dee's going to be inducted into the National Honor Society and get their blue stole. It's a very bright blue stole if you ever gotten one of those or had someone around you that did. On June the 2nd. So that is very exciting. That's going to open up a lot of doors for their post high school educational moments. And uh, Uncle Flo and Auntie Poppy and Auntie Tara and Lady Diva and all the other beings around are very, very proud of you, Dee Dee. Keep going. The sky's the limit. No one can stop you but you. On behalf of Terra Olo Studio, myself, Andre, and the Flow, Poppy Water 33, who we're so grateful for in the House of Mommy Water, and everybody attached to our loved and lovable network, we invite you, or we are inviting you to stay in your power, stay in your joy,
Stay loud and lovable, bitches.
stay loved and lovable, drink your water, mind your business, and try to have a joyful day because, as Tara always says, joy is the revolution. And the sooner that you step into it, the more fun you're going to be having with your loved and lovable life. Just for today, I'm Dr. Flo. That's Tara Olo. We will